What's up, everybody? This is an episode of Side Swap. If you're a follower of my channel, you know that Movie Swap is the flagship program. So when we do a side swap, this is where we're going to focus our energy on one particular movie tonight. And for me, the guest is extra, extra special because I don't get to do this very often on camera with a member of my own family. And this is a very, very bright young lady. And I'm always so proud of her. And her name is Dionna. And come on in, Miss Dionna. How you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
I am good. This is my niece. I neglected to say for people who are listening. This is my niece, my real life true niece. So I've known her longer than I've known all of you knuckleheads out there. And that smile is pretty permanent. We love her for that smile. So
Yep.
that's a great thing. So this is a movie show, so we got to talk a little bit about movies in a few minutes. But we you had not you, but there was a very well you were part of it. There was a very big event a couple weeks ago in your life, your mom's life in particular, that we were all kind of there to share.
Mhm.
Mom had a wedding,
Yes.
so yeah. Without putting all her business in the street, just how
Right.
was that day for you? Just kind of a behind the scenes. How was that day for you?
It was great seeing her be so happy and then seeing him and just the two of them like together and stuff. It just was a great thing to see. Like it was, and then also adding in like seeing like the entire family there and then our families kind of coming together. It was fantastic. It was like just great. I just loved it.
No, I got a true confession to make. So actually, I might have more than one confession, but here's my first confession. Really, is that I accidentally tried to ruin things like before y'all even came out the back. So those little glass thingamajigs that were all along the aisle, I
Right.
accidentally kicked one over, and it made a huge mess because it was water or whatever. I'm not even sure it was water, but whatever was in it was
Mhm.
all over the floor. So the staff was great. They came out, they cleaned it up, and all this, that, and the other. And I didn't feel too bad because a little while later, like I think it was just before you guys came out, somebody
Yep.
else broke one.
Right.
So I didn't feel so bad. My brothers, your other uncles, they shamed me about it. They was like, "You're making us look bad," but that's okay. The day went off without a hitch from that point. From that point forward, though,
Mhm. I didn't realize that was you.
the first one was not the one just before you guys came out. This
Right.
one, this was like 45 minutes or so before the wedding
Okay,
started.
yes. Yeah, yeah. My best friend told me. She was like, "Yeah," she was like, "Somebody knocked over the other one." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, that was me. That was me. So I'll fess up to it. I'll own up to it. So that the wedding went well from there. I didn't feel the
Mhm.
need to be saying anything
Right,
bad.
right, 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 right.
So we had a really great time that day, though. And yes, I was also very, very, very happy to see her happy.
Mhm.
And now I'm gonna take it back to last summer. At the end of last summer, we went on a family cruise. We were all
Mhm.
on, and this is kind of my business I'm putting out in the street. Maybe a little bit of yours,
Okay.
but I had known her husband for a little while now. But I
Mhm.
actually approached you, asking you how you felt about it. Now I'm not going to ask you to answer that question on air, but what I am going to ask you to do is, if you can, kind of relive. How did you feel about me even asking the question?
I I don't want to say I kind of like expected it, but like I was wondering how like you guys felt about it. So I don't. Wow. um. Let's say I liked I like the fact that you asked, and I like being able like to tell you my like thoughts about it and like my perspective on it. Um, because I know how I felt about it in that moment, and I was like happy and excited and all the things. So yeah, to reassure and, and talk to y'all.
Okay, okay, cool. All right, so let's. This is a movie show, so let's talk a little bit about movies. Um, you know, Are there what's a movie that you guys, and because I'm an uncle and I know you pretty well, but I wasn't there on a day-to-day basis.
Yep.
So what's a movie that you guys in your house kind of return to a lot over and over and over that you love?
Finding Nemo.
Oh, I love Finding Nemo. That's cool. No shame. You don't have to drop your head. No shame.
Yes, so I don't really remember, but like when I was younger, like my mom said that I always would return to Finding Nemo. I'd be like, "Hey, can we watch Nemo? Can we watch Nemo? Can we watch Nemo?" And like we would always like play Nemo. So to this day, like I can quote the movie like the back of my hand. Like that's always a good one. Um Incredibles was also a big one that we returned to a lot. Um yeah, Finding Nemo, Incredibles, and Aladdin. That was another one. It's all Disney, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now, was there a different movie that you bonded with your mother over?
Oh. I don't know in terms of movies wise.
Okay,
Um TV shows,
that'll
yes,
work.
but movies, I'm not really. I can't think of one off the top of my head. But TV shows, The Cosby Show, because she loved it and she got us kind of into it, and so we always would watch it. But that was a good one. That was a big one. Um, Get any others. Like I know now we're really into like reality TV shows. So like we love like the Secret Lives of the Mormon Wives and like the like current stuff. In terms of childhood though, I can't think of any like in particular because we were big on like family movie nights. So we watched a lot of like different movies and stuff. So Nemo and Cards and The Incredibles and those kinds of movies, like those were always on our list.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Now I'm gonna have to see. I was planning on not calling out my sister tonight, but you said you guys bond over reality television. I
Yes.
cannot stand reality. But if it helps, your cousins, they watch stuff like uh, what's his 1,000 Pound Sisters
Yes.
and
Yeah, yes.
90 was it
Yes.
90 Day
90
Fiance,
Day
Love
Fiance. Yep.
Bomb, all that stuff.
All of
Now,
it.
and I kind of hate myself because if I'm in the room, it's like a car wreck. You got to watch it. So I got to watch it while I'm sitting there, and then I eventually get out of it.
Yes.
And yeah, so sis, I'm disappointed. But anyway, anyway, on that, going back to that cruise though,
Mhm.
before that, you had seen Wicked before that. So
Yeah.
you were already a big fan of Wicked. It
Yes.
so happened that the movie they were playing on the cruise that week was Wicked,
Yes.
and you kind of dragged mom down to see that.
Sure did.
And we know you love the movie. How was the experience of watching it on a cruise ship, on the deck of a cruise ship?
It was interesting. It because of course like it's not like a movie theater or anything. So we're sitting there and for me, I had already seen the movie. And so I of course loved it, but it was my mom's first time watching it. Right. And so with that, it wasn't the best first experience because there were kids all around and like we had a group of kids in the pool and they were just loud and just it was a mess and like directly in front of us. But she got the gist of the movie. Like she liked what she saw. But yeah, that wasn't the best first experience. I'll say that.
Okay. Did she ever go back, have a second experience? Did you watch it, give it a
I
proper
I've
watch?
I've tried a little bit, but haven't gotten there quite yet. Quite yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. So along those lines, now I got to ask the toughest question possible. Now,
Okay.
Wicked or Wicked for Good?
Oh. Okay. I have thoughts about both. So, Wicked, I loved. I loved watching Wicked. I thought it was beautiful, learning the story and everything like that. Did I think it was a little slow in parts? Yes, and there were some parts where I was just like, okay, it could be like the pace could be a little better, or like something like it was putting me to sleep a little bit in some parts. But in the overall gist of it, though, it was fantastic. Um, Wicked for Good, it was action packed all the way through, and I loved that. And it kept me up. But then after I watched both of them, I was like, I kind of like Wicked, like the original, like better than the second one, and that's just like the songs were, in my opinion, were better. And just like, no, don't get wrong, there are great songs in the second one, like, but the first one just has a little bit, like, just some better songs, more like iconic songs, I'll say that. And yeah, and it's just, there's something about learning the origin story of the characters that, like, you've of course known for years, so it's like seeing it, it's like, oh, okay, that's how they know each other, that's how that happened, and that kind of thing. So I would say the first one.
Okay, I'm with you. I agree. I like the first one better than the second
Mhm.
one. Though I did like the second one. A lot of people were kind of giving it crap, but I like the
Great.
second one. I thought it was
Mhm.
pretty good. All right, and as usual, we got some friends that are watching, so I'm gonna see who is out there checking us out this evening. And we have Adrian is out there first. What's going on, Adrian? He says, "Hey there, Del and Dionna."
Hi.
And my guy Steve is here, and he's saying hi to Mr. James, who was Adrian, and you and I.
Hi.
And they're just kind of going back and forth a little bit.
Nice.
And let's see who else has popped in, because I've seen a few other people. So I thought I did. Having trouble working this without a mouse, friends. There we go. Sorry. There we go. Jeff is here, aka John Doe Juggalo. What's going on, Jeff?
Hi.
I wonder if Nikki's going to make an appearance. That's his mom. Tony from Basement Blues is here. So Tony is a wonderful guy, but I'm gonna tell you something about Tony. See,
Okay.
you come to my house and you see this collection and you go, "Oh wow, you got a lot of
Yes.
movies."
Yes.
Tony has literal rooms of movies. He has 2 rooms
Wow.
of movies. And it's like a long, at least on the screen, it looks like a really long room. And then you go through a door and there's another whole thing. So, he's got like 4 or 5 times as many movies as I have. But Tony's great.
Wow.
So
That's a
glad
lot.
Tony is made it. And everybody's saying hi to each other. And there's Tony saying hi to you and I, along with the other people.
Mhm.
And someone is here that you know.
Yep.
This is Mr. Elijah. This is my nephew, Deanna's brother. Who is that on screen? I'm not sure if he was here when we were talking about him, but no, we talked about him backstage, so he wasn't not here.
Mhm.
But yes, that is her brother, and he's doing lots of great things also. And let me go back to this comment beforehand, because somebody actually answered not knowing who he was. It's Adele's niece. So Eli responded, "And my sister, love her dearly, LOL." All right, so yes, we'll come back as people come in or have comments. Feel free. Everybody, of course, always does, but feel free. Any comments you want to make, any questions, and if you've seen the movie we're going to talk about, even better. And let's get to the movie that we're going to talk about here. So the movie that I had my niece watch, movie well before her time, and
Yep.
I was reminded that I actually introduced it to her mom, my sister, once upon a time. But now I introduced it to her without that even being the thought, though. That's the funny part, is I didn't really think about that. It just so happened. The movie is 1975's Cooley High. And this is a coming of age story. And well, let's just go ahead and start getting into it. You said you had never heard of it before we talked about it.
Yeah, no, I had never heard of it, and I was like, "What is this movie? What?" What?
Okay.
I did try to look at like the trailer and stuff, and I was like, the trailer didn't give me anything, so I was like, I don't know.
So one of my duties as the movie uncle is to introduce you to movies sometimes that you have not seen or did not know of. So this was my opportunity. I said, "Hey, I wonder if Dionna saw Cooley High, and I wonder if she would be willing to talk about it on camera." To your credit, you said yes to both. So I'm gonna start with the very first question about it, and that is, did you recognize anybody in the cast?
I was trying to, and I was like, I don't recognize anybody. I was looking at the names. Like, that was one of the first things, like, I was looking at. I was like, looking at the names, looking at the people, and I was like, who are these people? I have no clue.
Now, there's two people that I'm sure you've seen before, whether or not you recognize them,
Okay.
and one of them you probably should recognize.
Okay.
And these guys are actually our two leads.
Okay.
So,
What?
uh, Cochise is
Mhm.
Lawrence Hilton Jacobs. Now, you may have seen him. He did he did a couple episodes of the Wayans show, the TV show when they had that show. I don't know if you ever saw that when you were
Mhm.
younger, or you may have seen him in, if you've ever seen it, the Jacksons in American Dream, where he played Joe Jackson, Michael Jackson's dad.
Huh.
Have you ever
I
seen
did
that
not
one?
know that.
Yeah,
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I haven't seen the whole thing. No, but
okay.
I do. Yes.
It was a made for TV movie,
Yeah.
so but it's endured. It's a certified hood classic. So the other guy, Preach, he's played by Glenn Turman.
Mhm.
This is the one that I'm thinking you should recognize, only because I do know who your mother is. He played the Colonel in A Different World.
Really?
Yes, that's him,
Oh,
Colonel
I
Taylor.
didn't know that. Okay. Whoa.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, he was Colonel Taylor.
Wow. Now I gotta look at him again.
Now, one thing that came up here here with your cousins, because Kiara, Ari, they both watched it with me.
Mhm.
And one of the things that came up here was, at least from one of you, because I'm not going to spoil which, but one of them said they were too old for the roles. Did you get that sense, or were you okay with with their appearance?
I feel like they looked age appropriate. I feel like it wasn't like I feel like they didn't look too well. Hmm. In some parts, I felt like it was like, oh, maybe they were a little older than like I wasn't sure about their age when I was watching it, but then once it's like showed them like in school and that kind of thing, and I was like, okay, it kind of it falls like I see that like.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. Well, let's get into the beginning of the movie. So, I mean, pretty much the first thing we see is them trying to sneak out of school,
Mm-hmm. And
and
I
yeah,
yeah.
they're successful.
I had when I so I took notes as like live like as I was live watching it. And so I feel like I put down, I said I feel like him poking the girls on his way out, like crawling out the door was unscripted. Like him like poking them on the I felt like it was unscripted because of like the first girl's reaction. I was like, oh, that was unscripted. Like he was
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. That actually came up here too. That somebody looked at me and said, that wasn't in the script." I said, you can tell, you can tell. So that was cool. So they get out of school. It's Preach, Cochise, and they have one of their other friends with them. No, a couple other friends with them actually, and they run out into the streets basically, and they're just basically all over town now after, and
Mhm.
wind up at the zoo. How are you with the zoo scene?
The zoo scene was funny. The zoo scene was funny. I put when I was watching that scene, I said it's like giving Black Boy joy, and I love to see it. I was like seeing them like run through the park and just like having a ball and everything, and I was like, I loved seeing that just like throughout or whatever. I was like, now granted, they're skipping school, but but they're having like a ball, and it was cool to see that.
Yeah, they were definitely having a blast. So I mean, you know, the one thing that always it bothered me. I know it happened, and I've I knew people who did this back in the day, but they hopped on the back of the bus and were riding down the street on the back of this
Hmm.
bus. I tell you now, as a kid watching it, when I was younger watching it, that was cool. But now I get anxiety watching it on the back of this bus.
It
It was
reminded
crazy.
me of in Back to the Future when he was like on the skateboard riding on the back of the bus too and like going through like town and stuff. That's what that reminded me of when I saw it. I was like, oh.
Yeah, yeah. It was yeah, same difference, same difference. A little less dangerous than Back to the Future because he was on a skateboard.
Right, right.
That was pretty rough. We find out eventually, that Cochise is a basketball star and he gets a scholarship to school to college rather, and it's kind of a minor part of the movie until it's not.
Mm-hmm. I was
At
like,
least that's the way I felt about it. It was like it's there, but it's not really focused on until we need it. We need it
right,
at a certain point
right,
in the
right.
film.
I was like, I put in the beginning when he was first going to like wake him up. I put guy in the Letterman jacket as a cutie before I before I know his name. Before I knew his name, I thought he was a cutie. I was like, oh, he's nice to look at.
And that's pretty much what his character was. I mean, that's pretty much
Right.
how everybody kind of saw him. He's
Mm-hmm.
nice to look at. Definitely a little bit of a ladies' man
Yeah, 100%.
for a lot of it. Yeah, he was that was his character, and Preach. I guess he was the nerd half of the duo, but it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like they made him like they doing a lot of other things. They didn't make him like undesirable or nothing or
Right,
anything like
right,
that, right? He just wasn't Cochise.
right,
That's all it is.
right.
Yeah.
So I remember I looked at him and I was like, he's cute in like the face, but like I'm not.
For those wondering, if you haven't seen the movie, in the scene she's referenced, he gets up out of bed and yeah, he's definitely got a bird chest going on, and so yeah, I get it. And well, eventually we get to a little bit after that, we find out that there is a party and at a girl's house. What is the girl's name? Dorothy. Dorothy's the girl's name.
Mhm.
There's a party at Dorothy's house, and Dorothy is charging how much for this party? Do you remember?
A quarter, right?
Yes, a
Yeah.
quarter. You had to pay a quarter to get into the party.
I was like, a
And
quarter.
yes, I didn't look it up, but a quarter is worth quite a bit more now. That quarter
Mhm.
is probably worth quite a bit more now, but still, it was a quarter. And a couple of guys trying to sneak in didn't have a quarter. I was like, man, it's rough times. You got a couple quarters. So
I was like, we're doing all this for a quarter. Like, I'm like,
yes,
I
yes.
got four right now. Like, here you go.
And so that basically they have to get past Dorothy, and she doesn't want to let anybody in. She's adamant about this. Nobody's getting in without a quarter
Mhm.
until Tyrone shows up, and Tyrone kind of sweet talks her. And let me tell you what I said, because it's been some years since I watched this movie. And I was like, man, she folded up real quick once Tyrone
Right.
started talking. So how are you on that?
I said, girl. I was like, get a grip.
Yeah, so he got he got his buddies in because he pulls her to the side, puts Preach on the door. They come sneaking
Mhm.
in, and the big deal here is that eventually, we get we get Damon showing up at this party, and Damon, I actually skipped a big part of it. No, actually I didn't. But yeah, we meet Damon, and Damon. How would you describe Damon?
He got a big head. He got a big head coming in, and I saw him and I was like, what? Like, why are you doing so much right now? Like, what? Like, there's no, like, dude.
he came in. He had the mean look on his face from the time he walked in the door, and it was like, yeah, something's about to happen, no matter what
Right.
it is. I don't know what it is, right? If you had not seen this movie, it's like I don't know what it is, but something's about to happen around Nate. And he sees our guy, he sees Coach Cheese, and Coach Cheese is kissing either his girlfriend or his ex girlfriend. I can't remember.
Mhm.
And a standoff, a fight kind of breaks out, breaks
Mhm.
out. And actually, they don't actually fight this time, or did they fight it this time?
I know they came close. Like I know it cut to Preach and what was the girl's name?
Oh, Brenda. Yeah, that's the part I skipped. We'll come back
Yes.
to Brenda in a second, but yeah. So they did actually have a fight. So they're
Yeah.
fighting, and a bunch of people are jumping in. Preacher's in there with a girl. He's trying to hop out, and well, he's contemplating rather whether or not he's going to jump in the fight. Eventually, he does kind of sorta gets thrown around like a rag doll, and Dorothy's having a heart attack because they break mom's furniture,
Mhm.
and she's never gonna have another party again.
Right.
You just heard tell it. But yeah, let's go back to Brenda because on that day off when they're kind of running around the city, I forgot to go to that part where they went to Martha's, the little hangout
Mhm.
spot, and at Martha's we get a bottom up shot of Brenda
Mhm.
as he sees Brenda. And what's in your mind when during that moment when Brenda shows up and his eyes light up, and where are you with that?
When I saw Brenda, I was like, she's pretty. But like when I saw Preach and then I saw like his reaction and stuff, like I was like, okay, okay. I was like, let's see. I thought of Nemo where Crush was like, let's see what Squirt does flying solo. That was what I thought.
So I love it. Everything equates back to Nemo. I like
Yes,
that. All right.
always.
So that at the party, that's who he's talking to is Brenda. He's managed to corner her in a room, and they do. There is a bond. There is a bond.
Mhm.
They bond over poetry because what we found out about Preach is that he's an aspiring writer and he's into poetry, and she didn't know that. So they have a little bonding moment before the fight breaks out. So that was cool,
Mhm.
and things are on his way, and yeah, has to make his escape after the fight. So let me go quickly because I see a couple of people have popped in here. Let's go ahead to the chat really quickly. And hello, everyone. This is 24K Movies. What's going on, man? And it's Cooley High 79, 75 actually, 75.
Mhm.
Something else happened. I think 78, and that's related to Cooley High. We'll talk about it at the end, though. We'll definitely talk about that at the end. And Ballistic 82. Hello, everyone. Cooley High, hands down, one of the best of the 70s. I agree. I agree. We'll find out if my guest agrees later on. Stacy is here, or Acres of Movies, as people also know her. And hello and thanks from Stacy. What is your favorite supporting performance in a musical? So Stacy has lots of very specific and sometimes random sounding questions. And if you want to take a crack at it, you are more than welcome. I will think about. I will give mine uh, to satisfy the question. I'm gonna say Morris Day in Purple Rain, and it's just he's a fantastic villainous turn. Do you have anything for that, or can we move on? Should we move on?
Um, we can move on because I'm trying to think, and I'm like, so many musicals came to mind. So.
Okay, okay. I would if I were suggesting one. We talked about a movie, and that would be Ariana Grande and Wicked.
Yes,
She
yes,
was
yes,
very good.
yes, yes. I was thinking, my thing went to Hamilton.
Ah,
Uh-huh.
lots of great
I
supporting performances there.
I went to oh god, Leslie Odom Jr., who
Hmm.
played Amber, and also I feel like I'm gonna mispronounce his name, but Diggs, who
Yes,
played
David Diggs.
Thomas Jefferson, and Who else did he play? Oh geez. Um, he played somebody else in the musical, but yeah.
Um, Leslie Odom Jr. is fantastic. Uh, in everything I've seen him in, actually, to be
Yes.
honest.
Yeah.
Daveed Diggs actually has a movie called Blind Spotting. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. If you are
Hmm.
not, I would highly recommend Blind Spotting. Is that a yes or a no?
That's a no. Adding that to my list now. Let's
There
see.
you go. All right. It's it's odd for a it's an odd bit of movie um where it's not a full on musical, but every now and again people just break out and rap.
Okay. Okay.
But
I'm
it's
hooked
but it's
already.
yeah, but it's still good. It is a good movie. Um Steve is referencing what I was going to talk about a little bit later. Nope, not really. But he's talking about Lawrence Hilton Jacobs. I thought he was talking about something else from. Well, he kind of is actually. He says I know them as Freddie Boom Boom Washington from Welcome Back, Kotter. That would be Cochise,
Okay.
and that was a big series in the '70s. John Travolta got his start pretty much on that series. Um, and Raj from What's Happening. That was Preach. Preach was Raj on What's Happening also. No,
Got
I
it.
take that back. Preach was not Raj from What's Happening. That's a different actor. Um, Yeah, that's a different actor, Steve. You almost got me. That's a different actor. Look alike though. They do look alike. That actor whose name I'm drawing a blank on. Every now and again he showed up over the next 20, 30 years, most notably probably in Malcolm X. Um, but what's happening we are going to talk about a little bit later because it is very relevant to this discussion. Stacy says, press like and subscribe. Thank you very much, Stacy. And now she's just saying hi. I'm going to skip over the highs, except this one. I can't skip this high. Can't skip this one because this is high for us. And this is a lady we've talked about this lady already. This is my sister, Fit for the King, 744. She says hi, family. Hey sis,
Hi.
just landed back in North Carolina. She was out on another cruise we were talking about. So hopefully everything went well. I saw a couple pictures on Instagram. Cool. So for anybody that's not keeping up, that is my real life sister. Very cool. Stacy says she enjoyed Cooley High. Very good. I'm glad that you did. And see, here's one of those random questions. What are your thoughts on cruising to Electric Boogaloo? Well, it's really breaking to Electric Boogaloo. That one and Cooley High have similarities. I would say not really many similarities for Breaking Two and Cooley High. Um, you'd have to explain to me how they're similar. Let me put it that way. But it was a fun movie. I saw it as a kid. And best supporting performance in a musical, my guy Marks is Bette Midler in The Rose. Very cool. And let's go ahead. We're gonna stick a pin in it for right now, and let's go ahead and get back to Cooley High. So things kind of move quickly in this movie, and I I noticed that. I've seen it a lot of times. So things kind of move quickly, and so before I even go any further, I'm going to ask you this question. I'm going to
Okay.
ask you this question: Is there a plot?
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. One of my notes, I said I had this thought when they were running from the cops and then at the movies, and I put in all caps, what is the plot? In like 5 question marks. Because, and then I went more into that, and I was like, I said, so much has happened, yet so little. Some guy got scammed from his money. There was a fight at the movies. Um, uh, what's his face? He got a scholarship. There was a random car ride. There was a police chase. They hit the back of the car. I was like, I like the movie, but we aren't really seeing any character development. Like, I went on a whole rant.
I'm going to personally push back on the character development a little bit,
Okay.
and I'm going to say that the character development is through the actions of
Okay.
what's happened, what they're doing. Though I will grant that there's not much change in any of the characters.
Right. Right.
Okay. Okay. So after the last thing we talked about, basically the next big thing that happens, and I think you kind of alluded to it, is we get a car chase, just not out of nowhere, but it's just one of those random things that just happens along the course of this couple days that, that
It
the
felt
movie
random.
takes place with, where basically local thugs, Stone and Robert, have stolen a car, and they, they're acquaintances with our two heroes here, and they pull up like, hey, look at this ride, you want to hop in, let's go. And they eventually get in, and then we get this car chase. And what do you think about this car chase?
Oh goodness. When the police pulled up beside them, I said, "Oh, here we go." Like, here we go. So then they like take off, and I said, "Okay, wait a minute." I was like, "Wait a minute." I was like, "There comes a point where you do have to stop the car." Like, so then seeing them like go through the tunnel and then like all through the tunnel and doing the turns and everything, and I was like, okay, this is with going with the plot, with the non-existent plot. Okay, here we go. Like, like I just, and then I put underneath one of my notes, I said most of the movie took place over only a weekend. Like it felt like it was so much longer than only like 2 days. Like what in
Yes,
the world?
yes, there was a lot happening in these few days.
Right,
There was,
right.
there was a whole lot. And just again, for people who may not have seen it at this point, as I said, Stone and Robert pull up in the stolen car, but at some point they kind of switch off and let Priest drive, who has never driven before. And just as he's getting the hang of it is when the car chase happens, because cops show up kind of eyeballing them, and we get some hijinks and shenanigans here.
Right.
We end basically with a cop car on a forklift. That was cool, and they eventually get out running. So that was all fun and dandy. And next thing, we see them. We got Preach and Cochise meeting with these girls. They're in a
Mhm.
stairway,
That
and
scene was weird to me. As I'm watching it, I'm like, what are we doing right now? Like, because I saw like both of them kind of like, I don't know if they were looking at each other, like not like in a like a sexual way or anything, but like just in like a almost like a competitive way of like in that sense. So with watching that, and I was like, what are we doing? I was like, what what's happening?
so it was part of it was competitive, and this is me speaking as an older person now.
Mhm.
Part of it was competitive, and the other part of it was to check in with the other girl who was not as compliant with things, because it's like if she's not
Got
down with everything,
it.
then all of whatever we have planned falls apart.
Got it. Okay.
Right, right, and it fell apart for the most
Right.
part. At least for Preach it did anyway. But Coach, he's pretty smooth, so he managed to move his girl off into another area even after they
Right.
decided that we're done, we're gonna call this quits.
Mhm.
So he still managed, but Preach not quite that smooth.
Right.
Preach second smoothest talking person in the movie behind Tyrone, if you ask me.
Mhm.
Tyrone was magical. He kind of slicked his hair, popped his fingers, and
Yeah. Yeah.
but as we've alluded to, there is a girl for Preach, and he is all into Brenda, and he sets this all up. He goes when he goes home. Mom is going off to work, and he sets his little sister up to get out of the house with their even younger sister. And this is the part where the it gets a little weird as the amount of time that things are taking place,
Mhm.
because they seem like they have a whole day together.
Right. 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 When I saw the little montage, I was like, I either thought, okay, it's in the span of like a couple of days or like something like I like as I'm watching it, like I'm like, okay, like this is going on over the course of a couple of days because I thought of like montages that I've seen and I'm like, usually it takes place over a little while. So again, for it to happen in a day, like what? What do you mean?
Yeah, and eventually he gets gets her back to his room in his mom's
Mhm.
apartment. You know, mom is away at work, little sister's away with at another party or something, or with
Mhm.
another friend's house where some little boy's supposed to be there, and they get it in, they
Right.
do the do, and then I'm gonna let you take it from here. What is the big secret that not well, it wasn't a secret to us because we knew, but what is the thing that he blurts out that kind of ruins everything?
That it was a bet?
For how much?
For like $1?
$1. Absolutely.
It's
So
like, only $1? What the what?
so so go ahead, go ahead. Is there any more thought to that?
Just wow, and her reaction was valid. Like she was mad.
Yes, yes.
um yeah, that was yeah. It was I found it funny when like he tried to come back and explain it and he was saying how he like he blacks out or something and he just like says stuff and then he'll
Yeah.
like come back to or whatever. I thought that was funny because I was like, that is so stupid.
Yes, yes. And now, yes, when you're watching it at any age, it's just the dumbest thing you could possibly say,
Right.
no matter what.
Right.
Now, knowing being a little older now, what I get is that, and knowing his character a little bit, and having lived with his character for a really long time, and being a person who has written a lot, for sometimes for people who write, it is difficult to verbally come up with things like on the fly,
Mm, okay.
because you're used to sitting with a pencil, paper, pen, whatever, and thinking
Right.
about it and planning things out and coming up
Mhm.
with something,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's good or not, right? But that's how you processing things. So coming
Mhm.
up with something on the spot, not his forte,
Okay.
and the best he can do is now imitate his friend, and it's a poor imitation because he does it like several times throughout the movie,
Right.
right? He does it when he's trying to sneak into class, and he's got all kind of craziness just coming like that. No one in their
Mhm.
right mind would believe.
Right. Right. Now I see what you mean with the like writing and stuff. Like that's part of the reason why I took notes as I watched the movie. Like I'm a big like note taker and all the things. So me through like taking my notes and stuff, it helps me to have my thoughts written down and like it helps my thoughts to flow a little better than me coming up with it on the spot and being like, yeah, let me talk about this movie from memory and let me like whatever. Like it
Right.
helps to have it like written down and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely does. Um, so we find out that she finds that out. She leaves. Obviously, if anybody's following along, she's pissed off. She leaves. He gets busted by his sister, who eventually find out, tell his mom about this whole deal. And but the bigger deal is that once back at school on Monday, there's supposed to be this exam, and they've kind of studied maybe 10-15 minutes during the movie. You see them doing a little bit of studying, but it doesn't really matter because the police show up and arrest both our heroes and Stone and Roberts
Mhm.
for this for grand theft auto. And yeah, they drag them down to the police station and question them, and you can go ahead, tell me what you got going on here.
So before they before they were arrested and everything like that. So I wrote Brenda was dirty for that. When Brenda pulled Preach and
Oh yeah,
Virgin
yeah, yeah. I forgot about
as
that scene. Yes.
Sandra was walking by, I put that in all caps. I was like, there's no way that just happened. And then right before they got arrested, I put in all caps again, I put the desk lift up with like 5 question marks because they lifted the desk up
Okay.
with
Okay.
their book.
So okay, I'm gonna let me back up to the Brenda hallway scene for a second. My question for you
Mhm.
is is that a sufficient was that sufficient revenge?
Um, I would say no, because like I just feel like it was dirty. Like, I mean, I guess if you're trying to get back at somebody, yeah,
Yeah.
but it was still like, because I saw when it took place, I was like, wait a minute, like, that's really bad.
So, all right, let's talk about these desks for a second. So, yes, there was a point in time when school desks actually lifted up like this and you put all your supplies inside the desk.
Wow, I didn't
Now,
know
let
that.
right. So now let me go back to the beginning of the movie even though now. Remember they snuck out of class by pretending that their friend had a bloody nose.
Mhm.
Did you catch or understand what was making it look like he had a bloody nose?
The red liquid. No, I was trying to figure it out, and I was like, "What is that?"
It was actually ink. It was red ink that,
Ooh.
teachers would use. Sometimes you had these you had fountain pens that teachers still use sometimes, and you dip it in
Mhm.
the red ink and
Right?
pour
Wow.
the red ink on the tissue, put it to his nose.
Wow. Okay. Because when I saw the desk lift up, and like when it cut to the extras and they were lifting their desk up, I paused the movie and I said, "Wait a minute." So I said, lift up the desk, and I'm looking and I'm like, it like the top part lifted up. Usually I'm used to it just going inside, or like tables and they just put it on the table, not the desk lifting up.
Right.
That was pretty cool. Like,
Yeah, you were not prepared. It's okay.
no, no, not even a little bit.
All right, I'm gonna before we get back to the arrest, just going back through the chat, seeing what's going on because it looks like I got a good deal of comments here. Maybe Catherine Zeta-Jones as a supporting performance in Chicago, she was great. Queen Latifah also great in that, and Queen Latifah great in Hairspray also. So was Zac Efron in Hairspray? That was a good one.
Yes. Yes.
Steve, yes, he got mixed up with Raj, and that's okay. Stacy, yes, she meant Breaking Two, Electric Boogaloo. And yes, mom has said the same thing that I told you. Put your tail on a different world.
That I didn't know.
She didn't recognize him. Didn't recognize him. It's okay. The guy that was in the military that was on Cosby Show, who's Strictly Business. Same. Yes, it was different. Different world. Not Cosby Show, but that's okay. And excuse me. Growing up a oh, we're gonna try to get philosophical here for a second. Growing up as a young black woman, I've always enjoyed Cooley High and all movies about the schools and how they can help and interact. As in Breaking and Breaking Two, they try to get better schooling. There was no schooling in Breaking or Breaking Two. Well, Breaking Two, they had to save the community center, the rec center. They had to save that. And Breaking, the only schooling was that the white character, the girl who's in the movie, was in dance school, and she was kind of hanging out doing the break dance battles with our main characters. So I'm not sure we're unless I'm mistaken. So let me know, Stacey. And she continues, and opportunities and city center for activities. So yeah, so she's kind of tying them all together. Okay, got it. So yes, literally dozens and dozens of similarity between that and Cooley High specific. Okay, I see what she's going with it. I got you, Stacy. And this is cited together for urban film festivals, both underrated and similar themed urban set films. So she took me to school just now. Very much appreciated, Stacy. I got you. And she's still going here. She says, "Have you seen the movie? This is different. Made in Compton, Watts in the '70s, called Killer of Sheep. Not a horror movie, more of an urban study. I have not seen Killer of Sheep. I've heard of it. I have not seen it. So I will put that on my own list." And here's Corey from Wilkie's Movies and Music. Says, "Sorry, traveling but listening along." Thank you, Corey. Appreciate it. I've done that quite a few occasions. You just kind of listening along while you're going on in the car. And Steve says, suddenly this conversation is making me feel old as hell. Yes, Steve and I are of the same generation. So yeah. All right. So they get arrested, and they broke everybody up, and we don't see the interrogation. But when they all come back together, we find out that they all kind of gave a different story a little
Mhm.
bit. Nonetheless, right in front of the other two, Preach and Cochise get told they are free to go, but not Stone and Robert. Now, by that point, we know as the audience that Mr. Mason, the teacher, the history teacher that's been popping up, here and there throughout the movie, also
Mhm.
famous actor from the '70s. He showed he played in lots of things. Saturday Night Live, his biggest thing. Um, he has kind of pulled some strings because one of the cops is his buddy,
Right.
but Robert Stone and Robert don't know that, so they definitely don't understand that. And now, at this point, what are you thinking here?
So I'm gonna take it back to when they first got arrested. I put the plot has officially thickened and connected. It was
Okay.
like we're both just arrested, and then I put they'll be out within the hour with like 3 question marks because I was like, okay. I mean, like I see like they had the connection, and I was like, okay, I guess like I guess so. Um, and then I said, but now we have two pissed guys who are locked up and like going who are like locked up, and then I was like, oh, and that was all I put.
Uh-oh is right. But
Right.
before they get out, our heroes return to school. And
Mhm.
what's the atmosphere surrounding them when they walk back into school?
They were looked at as like snitches. Like they like, we were like, oh, like y'all told on them or y'all whatever, and all of things. So people were like mad at them for because they thought that they had like snitched on them or whatever.
Yeah, and our friendly neighborhood hater,
Mhm.
David,
Oh my
is
god.
right in the middle of things at the gym when they're in PE class. And
He was so annoying. I did not like him.
yeah, you're not meant to like him. It's okay. However, I will ask, did you like the white hat that he sported from time to time?
Yes, but only because it reminded me of my stepdad. That's it. That's
Fair enough.
it.
Fair enough. Did wear a very similar hat at the wedding.
Yes. Yes.
And okay, so they're about to get into it at the gym, and for whatever reason, Preach and Cochise are separated for just a little bit, and Preach finds out, that Mr. Mason is the one that pulled the string, so he's going looking
Mhm.
for Cochise, like, hey, this is what happened, hey man, and he gets there and he finds Preach with his ex-girlfriend, and go ahead, I'll let you go.
Yeah, I officially feel bad. Like I was like, I don't I yeah, no. I just put I officially feel bad. And then I put like the periods and I was just like da, 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 da.
So I mean, one of the things that happened for me right here is it becomes clearer that this movie is Preacher's story and not Cochise's
Right.
story.
Yes. Yes. That was I saw that when the Mr. The teacher had the conversation with Preach about like
Mhm.
him being like he was smart and that kind of thing, and like he needs to like go to school and like get that together and that kind of thing. That's when I was like, okay, this is more so of his story than the two of them. It's more of his story.
Right, right. It took a bit to get there, but
Right,
yes.
100%. 100%.
It definitely took a bit to get there. And so, as you do, you don't, they didn't talk for a bit. Preacher's pretty pissed, and
Hmm.
I mean that's understandable.
Yeah. I felt so bad
And
for him. I was like,
yeah,
no.
yeah, and we're gonna get into spoilers in a minute. Um, This is another one of my guys. This is the Ace Avenue, or Ace, as I like to call him. He keeps me up to date and all over the New York Yankees. He is the guy. I am gonna say, Ace, check your DMs because I am requesting for you to come on the show. So, so check your DM. Give me a yes or a no. Does it either way, but just give me a yes or a no. But yeah. So let's get into it. Let's do this. Let's hide that last comment and let's put up the spoiler alert. All right. So if anybody has not seen Cooley High and wants to and would like it not spoiled, maybe either you have my permission to either go and something else or just turn the sound down until the spoiler alert disappears. And let's go ahead and get into the thick of it here. So Stone and Robert get out of jail, and immediately, they're already suspicious that Preach and Cochise are the ones who told on them, right?
Mhm.
uh they immediately show up to Martha's, where first Damon is there. First thing, he's there, so our class A hater is there, and Preach happens to be there too. And he is trying to sneak out,
Right.
and Damon, as a hater would, he just loudly calls Preach's name. Hey, Preach! And this alerts Stone and Robert, and Preach jumps into the bathroom. And this is not the spoiler part, but this is always one of the funniest parts of the movie for me. How about for you?
Yes, yes. I put my jaw hit the floor when he went into the bathroom with her on the toilet. I was cracking up. It was great.
That was yeah, that whole scene was great. And the young lady who played the girl that was in the bathroom, she was fantastic in this scene. She
Mhm.
sold every bit of it. She
Yes.
might be the most believable person in this entire
Yes.
movie. And the acting's good, but she was excellent.
Yeah.
And anyway, Stone and Robert, they're outside the bathroom door. They're trying to get in. Martha shows up. Martha, we haven't really talked much about Martha, the owner of Martha's, but
Mhm.
whenever things go down in Martha, she's got this meat cleaver that's just at the ready, and she pulls it out on Stone and Robert. So they leave. Our guy sneaks out the side door. She lets him sneak out the side door, but of course, Stone and Robert still have a chase. And what do you think about this chase?
That chase was wild. Like, just was like he's jumping everywhere and all the things and just running through, and I just it's like wow.
So he gets away. He gets
Right.
away. So they gotta divert their attention. And this is the scenes that the movie is most remembered for. This scene and the following. And this is, they have caught up Stone Robert and Damon, because Damon, of course, has to join in on the
Mhm.
chase. He doesn't have any real beef other than at this party the other night he saw
Right.
Coach Cheese with his ex girl,
Right. Right.
right? So he joins in on the chase, and not even the chase. They just caught up with Cochise. We don't know exactly how, but they're just beating him just mercilessly. And before it actually happens, what do you think is happening?
I when I was watching it, I was like, okay, he's getting like I want to say like he like I was like essentially he was getting like jumped, I guess. And like I was seeing that and I was like, okay, okay. I was like, I don't like this, but okay, like like I yeah. It was like the next part I just yeah. I was
So the next scene, we find out for sure. We have an idea. We have an idea that this is what happened. But the next scene, we know for certain that Cochise has died. He was killed.
yeah.
And it looks like the ending blow was struck by Damon. It looks like. Um, and there's his
Mine,
funeral, and
my notes on it right before
okay,
the funeral, and I
go for it.
saw him when he was on the ground and he kind of like moved a little bit and then was
Hmm.
still. And I was like, he's not dead, is he? He can't be dead. Like, and then, and then the very next second, I said, "Oh my god, he's dead." I was like, he had his faults, but he didn't deserve to die. And then the next part, I said, the soundtrack of this movie is amazing. By the way,
Oh,
like,
yes,
I
it is.
love the. I was like, I love the soundtrack.
I was getting there, but go ahead, go into it right now.
But yeah, that's what I was at. So at the funeral, I was like, the soundtrack is beautiful and everything, but I was like, he didn't deserve to die. But it was yeah, it was a moment.
So the one song I'm going to point out is, I don't know. Of course, they're playing "It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday."
Hmm.
Had you ever heard this version? This is the OG version, not the Boys
I
to Men
have.
version.
I did hear that version. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
I was like, I remember I heard I heard like a snippet of the song in Family Guy.
Really, I didn't see that episode, but okay.
There's a clip in Family Guy where like Stewie is saying goodbye to Rupert, his bear, and because Brian like ate him, and then they're like riding back to the house or something like that after like Rupert's like funeral or like going away or whatever. Um, and they're playing this song. And so after that, I looked up the song because it made the whole scene made me emotional. And I was like, why am I crying at a Family Guy episode? But whatever. But as I'm like watching it, and then I looked up the song and I heard the original.
Okay. So speaking of crying, all right. So we have well, I'm gonna drop two names on you. One I know you know. The other one you may know. I know your brother knows. But one name's Big Daddy Kane. That's the one you may or may not know.
Hmm.
The other name I know you know, which is Lauryn Hill,
Yes.
and she did it many years after he did it. But both of them in a song uttered the words, "I even cried when Cochise died." Did you cry when Cochise died?
I sure did. I sure did. Um, I more so cried when Preach said when he poured out one for the dudes who weren't here.
Mm-hmm.
That got me because of course that takes us back to the beginning, or like in the beginning of the weekend or whatever. That was when I started crying, and then I was like, I'm bawling. I'm bawling. Like I was a mess. A mess.
Okay. You know, I'm not sure if I should say if I should apologize or say you're welcome. I'm not sure.
Both works. It's fine.
Um, but you know, at the end of the funeral, because Prince does not actually come to the funeral technically.
Right.
You
I
know,
remembered I saw that and I was like, I wonder why. Like that was my question, was why he didn't go down to the funeral. I was like, that was his buddy, that was his bestie. Like,
mhm.
yeah, like that part kind of I didn't wasn't sure how I felt about that part.
So we can kind of go round and around about why, but I will say this: this is the first use of a movie trope, of a particular trope, that I remember seeing. I'm not saying it's definitely the first one. Somebody out there can correct me. Um, but it's where a major character passes away, and then another major character doesn't actually go to the funeral, but they kind of stand away from it and watch.
Okay.
And this is the first time this is the earliest movie that I remember it in.
Hmm.
And so again, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Um, as to why, you know, there could be a lot of reasons. He just didn't want people to see him in a certain way, or blame him, or
Hmm.
couldn't handle it being there with
Right.
everybody. It could be a lot of reasons.
Hmm.
But when everybody kind of clears out, he does go down to the gravesite, and he gives a monologue. How you feeling about this monologue?
I cried even more. I was already crying and then I just cried even more. Like oh, like that's his buddy, that's his bestie. Like, and, oh gosh,
Okay. Now,
so sad.
Okay, I got you. So after that, though, after that, we get a epilogue. We get little shots of all these different characters and what happened to them later in life. And there
Hmm.
was one that pissed me off when I saw this movie as a teenager, and it still pisses me off now that I'm a long way from being a teenager. And one of our characters, our grade A hater, Damon, does not get the comeuppance that I think he deserves.
No, he did not. I put the fact that Damon became a sergeant is actually insane because what?
Yeah.
That
I mean,
made
I
me.
mean as far as the other guys goes, it pretty much plays out, into what their character was. Preach becomes a successful writer. The
Mhm.
other young guy that they hang around, the younger guy that they hung around all the time, he became a factory worker, stoning
Mhm.
robbers. They had their thing where they were both killed in a robbery, and there was another one. Was it Tyrone? I forgot what
Yes.
happened to him.
Yes. So
Um,
I put so Brenda became the librarian, and I said that was not surprising to me, but I was shocked that her and Preach did not end up together because I was expecting them to. After all that, like,
well,
um,
he ran off to California. He was running off to California.
right. So then I remembered that, and I was like, okay. And then I put Tyrone being killed in an outbreak of racial violence stood out to me. Like
Yes,
I
that's what it was.
wasn't
That's what
expecting
happened to
that from
Tyrone.
him.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I was like that. I just wasn't expecting that one. I was like, oh, okay, that took a took a
Yeah,
turn.
I don't know. Do you think that was fitting for his character? 'Cause I didn't get that about him at all. That he would that
Right,
that would happen. Though
exactly.
it could
And
happen to anybody.
right. So that was my thing. I was like, we didn't necessarily know much about him, but I was like, from what we did know, I was like that. I was like, it didn't stand. Like it didn't. I feel like it didn't fit. Like if that had happened to someone else, like possibly, but I was like, I feel like with him, it. I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't fit. I feel like and it definitely stood out to
Right.
me. Like, it definitely
Right.
was like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah. The only thing I can chalk that up to is, like you said, we don't really know him that well because this takes place basically over a weekend.
Right. Right.
So, and then back to Damon. Damon, yeah, like you said, he becomes a sergeant in the military, and I forget which branch it was. I think it was the army, but yeah, that was it. You know, he he gets away scot free pretty much.
Was so bad. And then I put that's it. That's how it ended with like in all caps and like all single points. Like, I tell you, I was a typing fool during this movie. I was like, there's no
All right,
way.
all right. I'm gonna take the spoiler banner down, and I'm gonna get into the chat. And then we're gonna see if there's any other things to say about it. And all right, I said I won't lie, not all the time, but sometimes I turn the movie off before that scene.
Mhm.
Interesting, interesting. I can't do that, even though I know how it ends. I'm gonna watch it all the way through. But I understand. I get it. I get it.
My brother does the same thing with Avengers with Civil War, I think is that one. He turns it off before the scene with like Captain America and Iron Man and like that, like the
Oh,
big
Infinity War. Infinity
yeah,
War.
yeah. It's one of them. I don't know.
Right,
But
right.
I know he
Oh,
turns it off.
oh man, that's what makes a great storytelling. Quick story about that movie. Um, I went to see it in theaters, of course, um, and I know your aunt was with us, and I'm pretty sure the girls were with us. But anyway, when that happens, and a spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen Infinity War, all these characters just start dying off, and then the movie ends. It was so quiet in that theater. It was crazy. It was so
Yeah.
quiet. Usually at the end of a movie theater, a Marvel movie, everybody starts kind of chit chatting and just sitting around waiting for, the end credit scene.
Mhm.
And this one, everybody was kind of looking at each other like, "Wait, what? What happened?" So that was very very interesting. Uh, Oh, here's the coolest guy in the world. He says, Johnny, what's up, cool kids? What's going on, Johnny? And say hi to April, of course, Johnny. And every ghetto, every city. Yeah. Yeah. And oh, very ooh, it's not fair. American graffiti didn't end this way. Ooh. So American Graffiti, I don't know if you're familiar with that movie at all, but it
Nope.
was a coming of age movie that also came out in the 70s, mid
Mhm.
70s. Um, but this one featured white kids, and no, it does not end this way. So
Interesting.
that is what Mark is referencing,
Got it.
and for better or for worse, it kind of set a it also set the trope of hood movies ending that way,
Mm.
kind of. Boys in the Hood, Juice, and all these other movies. And I saw a lot of Juice in the beginning of this movie, by the way. But you know, somebody dies. They're trying to get out of whatever the situation is, but they die before it happens. So it set an unfortunate precedent with that. So that is what he is referencing. That is very fair. At least I think it's very fair. All right. So let's get into. Yeah, well, before I do that, is there anything about this movie that we did not speak about that you wanted to bring up?
Let me look at my notes. Hold on.
Go for it. Go for it.
Talk
And while
about.
you're doing that, just thank you to everybody who's hanging out with us tonight, and hope you're having a good time. Hope you're enjoying it as much as we are.
Oh, okay. I saw the rating in the corner. I don't know if it like cut off the rating, but it said it was like PG, and I put it should have been rated PG-13 with the amount of making out that they were doing because it's a lot.
Um, Hold on, I'm gonna reach over here off the camera because I'm gonna grab it for a second,
Okay,
and I'm gonna take a look. This is yes PG. All
PG.
right.
Yep.
So let's talk about PG in the 70s versus PG now.
Okay.
A lot more lenient. Um, there's a. I know you've heard of Jaws. I don't know if you've ever seen Jaws.
Mhm. I no.
And right, Jaws is a movie about, of course, sharks
Right.
attacking people and eating people, and there's a bit of that going on in the movie, and we get some blood and guts a little bit. Not as much.
Mhm.
Not it's not like some of the movies today, but it still should not be a PG rated movie.
Mhm.
A few years after, 7 years after, as a even better point of reference, 7 years after Cooley High, we get a superhero movie called Swamp Thing comes out, and in Swamp Thing, there are just full on female topless nudity
Mhm.
twice in the in the movie. Rated PG. So PG-13 did not exist until a couple years after that, I think.
Got
So
it.
everything was PG or R, and yeah, it was basically theme wise if they thought kids could handle it, whether or not it was PG or R. For the most part, I mean, there were some guidelines around nudity and profanity and
Mhm.
stuff like that, but not as stringent as they are today.
Mm.
So PG in the 70s was different.
It's different. Okay, okay. I was like, "What in the world?"
Yes.
The intro song that played in the very beginning of the movie, I started
Hmm.
singing it immediately. I was like, "Baby." I
Do
loved
you
it.
know who that was?
Say again?
Do you know who that was?
Who's singing the song?
Are we talking? No, no. Which song we talking about? We talking about Baby
During
Boy?
like during the opening credits.
Was that Baby Boy? Or was that Fingertips? Was that Say Yeah, that one?
I don't know. Hold on.
Sound like it was kind of a live audience. Say yeah, yeah, that one.
Um, hold on,
Probably
hold
not.
on, hold on, hold on.
It was either that one or it was My Baby Boy. I can't remember offhand. But yeah, it is a fantastic soundtrack. And I'm just looking something up.
Oh, it's by the Supremes.
Yes, that's baby. That was Baby Boy.
Baby Love. Yeah, yeah, that one. I like that one.
No, it's a great song. It's
But yeah,
classic.
that was it. That was yeah, that was all my notes.
I mean, it's a classic song. All right, so we're gonna get to your overall thoughts, how much you liked it or disliked it, and I will let you take it from here. What your thoughts of on Cooley High? If you want to rate it, you can do that. I'm not forcing you though, but go for
I wrote a little blurb at
it.
the
Oh,
end of the movie. I wrote a little thing. I said, okay, so overall, I liked it, but like we talked about earlier, I felt like a lot of the stuff was thrown together for like time wise. Like, I feel like it was just kind of rushed together. I was like, the plot connected towards the end, but there was a lot of random scenes and things that happened throughout. I was not expecting him to die, especially because we saw his body move like after he was beat. So like I saw like his leg move or whatever, but
mhm.
then I was like, but then when Preach found him and started yelling for help, I was like, oh no, he can't be dead. And then it showed his funeral, and I was a mess. So it was that. And then I wrote, I'm glad Preach ended up being a famous screenwriter, and I'm also glad it showed what happened to everyone else. Like it showed what happened to everyone else, and what they eventually ended up doing. Um, Brenda becoming the librarian was not surprising, but again, I was like I said earlier, I was shocked that they didn't end up together. Um, and then I put my overall rating. So my overall rating, I gave it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Okay,
I gave
I'll
it a
take it.
7 out of 10. I was like, I really liked it, but I just felt like at some points, like I just was lost for the plot, and that kind of that's what was throwing me, was just there was no plot, and that's why I was so glad when you asked that question of is there a plot, because I was like no. So then when it came together, then it kind of like I was like, oh, okay, here we go. This is where the connection comes in. And I thought they were gonna bring up everything, but we still don't know. Like that guy who scammed the other guy, like we still don't really know what that was about. Like, I don't know if that was just like I don't know. Like that like that was one of the
Right.
random things, right? Um the movie fight scene. Like I just like that was one of the random things. So that's the only reason why I brought it to a 7 out of 10. Because I was like, I just felt like the plot just wasn't plotting. It wasn't it wasn't
Gotcha.
what we need to do.
Now, I 100% understand because I'm a person who really thrives on a narrative plot. Also,
Right.
this is one maybe I'm a little nostalgic, but I grew up with this movie, so I love this movie. But then there's
Mhm.
also a movie like Friday that doesn't have a plot. I'm not sure if
Mhm.
have you seen Friday.
I've seen like the beginning of it, but I think I had some other stuff to do that day, so I think I had to stop.
Right, right. I mean, there is a or even more recently, just one of them days,
Mhm.
the movie with SZA and Kiki Palmer,
Kiki. Mhm.
which is a lot like Friday actually. And yeah, there's a plot like barely there in those movies.
Right.
So it's just
Right.
kind of a slice of life kind of thing. It's like, hey,
Mhm.
here's a short period of time in these people's lives.
Yeah.
And those movies don't always jive with me, but Cooley High does for me.
Mhm.
So I'm a big fan. But I am glad that you liked it.
Yeah.
All
Mhm.
right. And let's see, we did have at least one more person pop in, and this is Nikki, aka Jane Doe Letty. This is what I was saying was Jeff's mom. Hey, Nikki, thank
Hi.
you. Glad you made it in. She has been a big supporter, and everybody else is just saying hey to her. So I'm glad. And up, we got a couple of comments. A couple more comments just popped up, literally just popped up. And let me make sure I don't miss anybody. Yep, there we go. All right. As Mark says, hangout movies aren't often plot driven, is fair. Movies like Barbershop suffers from having too many plots. I actually just recently watched Barbershop. So yes, there is a lot happening in Barbershop. And Johnny, Johnny says, wait, what? There is someone alive that hasn't seen Friday? She's young, Johnny. She's young. In her 20s, and
My bad.
it is what it is.
I'll add it to my list. How about that? I'll add it to my list.
Definitely add it to your list. This is another classic, another hood classic. Nikki's glad to be here. Thank you, Nikki. I'm always glad that you have shown up. Um, but yeah, Friday is one. Let's get into before we wrap it all up. Let's get into just a couple of fun facts about Cooley High. First one is that it is set in Cabrini Green projects. Are you familiar with them? I know you've heard of them, and even if you don't think you have, I will tell you why you have. But have you ever heard of, or do you think you're familiar with Cabrini Green projects?
No.
Very,
My setting when I took a note and it says takes place in Chicago of 1964. That's what
very
I got.
good. Before I get to why you're familiar with it, I do have a comment you might want to take a look at,
Uh-oh.
and this is from your brother. I'm so disappointed. Dionna, you represent me too.
My bad, E, my bad.
All right. Cabrini Green Projects is in Chicago, as you stated. And shortly after this movie, a couple years, it was the setting for Good Times.
Okay.
In the 90s, it was the setting for the OG Candyman.
Okay.
And then in the 2020s, a movie we watched together, the newer Candyman.
Yes.
It was set
Okay.
right across from Cabrini Green.
Got it. Okay.
Yes. Now, as far as I know, it's no longer there. I think they've torn it down. Um, but yeah, that's Cabrini Green. Um, Preach, who played Glenn Turman, who played Preach. A
Mhm.
few years after this movie, he would go on to marry the one and only Aretha Franklin.
I did not know that. What?
Yep, they were married. It was a short marriage, but it was one of those where they split. According to everyone that knows, they split because of the distance between them, not like there was something
Mhm.
bad happening. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Oh, one more Cabrini Green setting. Hoop Dreams is a basketball. People call it the greatest basketball documentary of all time. Eli, if you're still watching, um, you might want to check out Hoop Dreams. It's very long, but
Mhm.
it's really, really good. That is also set at least partly in Cabrini Green because one of the people they focus on lived there. And the last thing, it came up a little early. We talked about Roz from What's Happening. There is a connection between the two. So, are you familiar with the show What's Happening?
Mm-mm. Nah.
Okay. So What's Happening was a sitcom, came out late 70s. I want to say like 78. I'm not, sure off the top of my head. 77, 78, somewhere in there. So what happened is Cooley High, was a success, and the people involved, the creative powers that be, decided they wanted to make a TV series. Filmed a pilot called Cooley High. It didn't go over too well, but they still wanted a TV series. So they stepped back, reworked the cast, reworked the plots. Everything's set now in Los Angeles instead of Chicago, and renamed it What's Happening. And that's how we got that show for anybody out here who's watching who remembers What's Happening. And I'm sure you can find it on reruns on something. It's out there. But yeah, that is the connection between the two of them. And a couple more comments that came in. And yep, Johnny said Candyman came to my mind first when you said Cabrini Green. Yep. And finally, Johnny also said Hoop Dreams is amazing. Yes, it is. It is. If you are into basketball at all, even if you're not into basketball, it's a great, great documentary about these two kids trying to make it big, trying to play ball and make it big. So, yep, Dionna, thank you so much for doing this, for coming
Of
on.
course. I had a
Oh,
lot of fun.
uh,
I had a lot of fun.
good. I'm glad you did, and I always enjoy when we do get to talk movies. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, but I always love it when we do.
Okay,
And
I put after I like did all my notes and everything and did my overall rating. I said I absolutely love doing this, watching a movie and taking notes to talk about later. I said it was fun. I was live typing as it happened in real time. I was like, if you want me back, please, like, I will
okay,
happily do it.
I will keep that in mind. Maybe we'll do Friday. We'll see.
Yes, yes.
Actually, you know what? I honestly, I probably would not do Friday because I do. There's not a lot to actually talk about Friday. It's a great movie. I love it. But yeah, there is very little plot there too. But yeah, I will keep that in mind. Um, Normally, this is the part where I would give my guests a spotlight and ask them to highlight anything that they're doing online. Do you want people to find you online? It's okay if you say no.
Sure, why not? I don't really post much anyway, so why not? Why not?
And where can they
My
find you?
Instagram, at DF and then Shepherd, SHEPHERD. I think there's a one at the end of that. Hold on, let me
Yeah,
look.
there is a number one at the end of that.
Yes, okay. Yes.
Yes, I.
That
It's weird because I didn't realize it either, and we follow each other on Instagram, and I didn't realize it either because I just see DF Shepherd, and then when
mhm.
I was doing one of the stories for the show, I was like, wait, there's a one there. Hey,
Yep. 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 I did have a question for you, Uncle Wendell.
absolutely.
Okay, so why did you choose this movie for me to watch?
Why did I choose this movie? So this is one that I wasn't specifically thinking of your mom, but
Mhm.
I know that I had shown a lot of people in the family this movie,
Got it. Okay.
and I was curious how well it would age and how you took to this movie. Because
Okay.
one of the things we didn't touch on actually was that I wanted to touch on, and I apologize, was just how the young women in this movie are portrayed. It kind of hit me as I was watching it this time because as a
Mm,
younger watching it, it's just like they're there, but it's not that big a deal. So
yeah.
just if you can, just a minute, how do you feel about how they were portrayed?
Yeah, I like you said, they were there, but like they weren't like there. Like it just they didn't have a lot of depth. Like it was just kind of like they were there. They were like almost like they were just there to look good and like to make out with, and that's it. Like,
Okay.
like that's really what it was.
Okay. But no, to actually answer your question, though, yeah, it was. I know I'd shown people in the family this movie, and I was curious how it would hold up, because it's now 51 years old, just about. So, and your cousin Kiara, she had a good bit of fun with that. So she's looking as she's watching the movie. She's like going online and kind of researching some things. She's like, "Oh wow," because I didn't tell them when the movie was set or anything. I didn't tell them when it was made. When I put it on, she's sitting there. Then she's kind of all of a sudden, right in the middle of the movie, I hear 50 years. And then she had a good time. She was. I'll spoil it now, but she was the one who was talking about the age of the actors,
Mhm.
and she was kind of referring to it as almost a old school to be movie.
Okay.
I took offense, but she was like, "Might as well. It's the same thing." I was like, "It's not the same," but anyway, that's what we were. So we had a good time. We had a good time with that, and so I hadn't introduced it to them before. I had shown Amiri before,
Mhm.
and because he didn't recognize the name of it, he just happened to be in the room, and then
Mhm.
he looked up. He was like, "Hey, you showed me this." So why not bring it on another generation in the
Yes,
family?
I love it. I love it. Okay.
All right, I think there was a couple of one or two more comments, and one from somebody, again, here's
Mhm.
your mom, my sis. I didn't know that, and I'm guessing she's talking about the What's Happening connection.
Mhm.
And I know she's very familiar with what's happening. We used to watch that all the time when we were kids. And this was really fun, even if I feel like I aged 10 years since it started. I understand, Steve. I totally understand. I totally understand. Everybody out there, again, thank you for hanging out with us. I'm so glad. On this channel coming up, I know my next big thing is going to be on the 20th, which is just in a couple of weeks. That is Spike Lee's birthday, and I'm going to have KB on with me, and we're going to do a tier ranking of all of Spike Lee's narrative movies. So we're going to kind of go through and rank those kind of sort of. So be on the lookout for the exact time on that. And I'm trying to get some more people in here for Movie Swap between now and April and the rest of the year. So just be on the lookout, guys. Again, thanks for hanging out with me. And if you've been here before, thanks for hanging out with me again. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.